Hello guys, this is Dearjess here and welcome to this week's review, and this week we are reviewing The Eaters of Light, and this is the 10th episode, the penultimate in the series if you don't count this two-parter, which I'm slightly disappointed by. I feel like the trailer for me was probably the highlight of this episode. Because we got to see the Master and we got to see the Mondasian Cybermen and whatever that surgical thing that they're becoming as well. We get to see that. And this episode though was a little bit lacking, but there was no problems in the story at all. The story was fine. It was the fact that I felt slightly bored and very just sort of away from it the entire time. There was nothing that really brought me into it, as it stayed pretty consistently dull throughout the episode. I think that during the episode that you do get a small amount of pickup. There's like a 2-minute slice when everything begins to pick up again, and I started to get invested a bit more, and that's when they're in that mine and they slowly make their way up to the top. And there's all those other warriors things up there, like Scottish. I think they're Celts, aren't they? Is it Celts? Anyway, the Scottish people, their accents get a little bit annoying because they feel like they're over Scottish. Because last week we had this British stereotype Londoners, and now we've had this Scottish stereotype. Yeah, I just don't fancy. I like the design of the characters, but I just don't fancy the weirdness of them. Yeah, they just look really bizarre. I don't know. There's something off about this episode. I just don't know what it is. This episode though was written by a woman called Rona Munro, if that is pronounced right, and this episode was her first in the current series of Doctor Who, but she previously wrote an episode called Survival with Sylvester McCoy. I just wanted to point that out in case you didn't know that, or you probably didn't care. So anyway, so let's just shade over that entire beginning bit that wasn't very good, and the pointless kid that you could probably cut out, and move into the slightly more interesting stuff of the episode. So, the creature itself is very CGI, and actually the CGI itself in this episode isn't great. I'll admit it's not brilliant. The CGI creature just looks quite awkward and a bit PlayStation cutscene, and then you get the blooming entrance, the doorway, which they really don't use well enough in my mind. I feel like they haven't really got what they wanted for. It's suitable and it works, but it's not great. And I felt like some of the CGI at the end was pretty naff and very hard to understand what was happening with the creature when it was because what is this creature doing? It's like he's doing that. It was weird. I believe that the next bit was yes, so the pretty obvious plot for this episode. It is really, really obvious, and I believe that, well, if I could notice, I'm pretty sure other people could. So, it's quite obvious that these two armies are going to, budget, are going to meet up, and they're going to form a sort of alliance to either defeat the creature or put it back through the portal. Nailed it. And it's the basic storyline, or the basic format of villains to begin with, become friends, become colleagues or whatever. become colleagues. No, not colleagues. Like they work together and stuff. And that's just the general way that this goes. And it's so obvious what's going to happen that it just feels like it takes a long time to get there. And that is something I just don't like about this episode. I think that I'm actually running out of things to say because there was so little that I was interested to talk about that I'm really sort of slowing down in my voice so that I can figure out what to say next, instead of doing what I normally do, which is really, really speak fast and move on to the next subject really quickly, which I'm going to try and do for the rest of this video. So, let's move on a bit into the mirror whatever. So there's this mirror, they have mirrors things, sure, and just deal with it, and they're gonna hold it and blind or whatever the hell they want to do to this creature with light. But the thing's called the Eaters of Light, so doesn't it like light? Isn't that the thing it takes? If it eats people, it takes light and the world gets darker. What is happening? And when you see all of this stuff happening in the episode, you just go, this is cool, the music's good, whoever did the music, well done, the music throughout this episode is good, but I didn't feel any like, yeah, they did it at the end of it. It was just kind of like, oh right, that thing's back through the door, and they're going to go and follow it, to fight it. Which I didn't understand. That's probably because I wasn't really paying attention well enough. But if I pay attention a bit more, I might understand what's going on. And maybe that might require me to watch it again. Help. But if you move on and really try and embrace the episode for what it isn't a bad episode. If you like these kind of episodes, you will like this episode. If you like these kind of episodes, you'll like this episode, obviously. But obviously it's really, really warm, so I was really uncomfortable during that entire episode. Anyway, so next week looks amazing, and that is why I really wanted to talk about that, which I'd probably talk about on the Geek Show or in my What Would I Say 5 video, which will be coming later this next week. Oh god, we've only got 2 weeks left from the finale now. But I didn't really think this episode was up to scratch and what it should have been. I feel like I was just lacking just a little bit, and I wasn't really into it as much as I wanted to. I wanted it to be good, but it really wasn't anything I'm interested in. Maybe you liked it, and if you did, make sure you talk about it in the comments below. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Make sure you give it a like, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.